Hello and welcome back to Rainbow Magician. My name is Mary. Thank you for joining me today. So much different video than normal, as you have probably noticed. Hopefully by the time I post this, my channel name will now say Rainbow Magician instead of Rainbow Magician Tarot, which is what it was previously, because this is not a tarot video and I'm trying to branch out and do videos that are not just tarot videos. So if you are just now clicking on my channel for the first time, hello, you're probably confused, that's okay. But my name is Mary. I am just here to vibe mostly. I do tarot readings and spirituality themed videos, but I'm also branching out into other things that interest me, and one of those things is reading. So that's the theme of this video, and I'm gonna try to make it a little bit ASMR-esque. I'm using like a soft-spoken voice, but I don't really have a microphone, so it's probably just gonna be like low quality, but I'm gonna try to make it sound okay, hopefully, in editing. But yeah, this is just gonna be me talking about books that I have read this past month. So if you are subscribed to my channel previously for all of my tarot videos and you're here, welcome, I hope you stay. I am gonna be talking about things that I think anyone can, you know, gain something from. I mean, I think that books are something that we can take messages from and like apply them to our lives, and you know, we gain knowledge and wisdom and all of those things. So if you're just here for that type of content, I do think that you can still get some of that from this, even if you don't like reading and even if you don't intend to read any of these books. I am still going to talk about like what they made me think about, what they made me feel, and like the insights I might have gotten from them. So we're gonna go deep, okay? Maybe not too deep, because I don't want this to be like a super long video, but you know, it's gonna be a good time. So I'm not gonna do any more of an intro because this is already too long, but all of my links and information will be down in the description. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you do like this type of video, and if you don't, then that's okay, you can go find another one. But for those of you who do, let's get into it, shall we? So I have recently had a resurgence in my reading hobbies. Reading hobby, I guess it's one hobby, not plural. So I was a big reader in like high school, and then kind of just didn't really keep up with it that much over the years, but I feel like I'm really ready to dive back in now. So this past month, March, I managed to read, oh my god, how many? I didn't even count. I think 4 or 5? Is it 5? I think 5, we'll see. 5 books that all happen to be featuring a queer male protagonist. That was not, well, it was intentional, but it also wasn't intentional. I just kind of was in the mood to read gay books because I am always in the mood for that. And so then I just kind of went on a train down the, I don't know what I'm trying to say, down the gay book track. That was not a good metaphor. But yeah, so I read what I believe is, I'm pretty sure it was 4 books. Yeah, 4 books in the month of March. That, like I said, all featured a gay male protagonist. So the first one that I read, so I don't have the books with me, so I'm just gonna like hopefully I can like insert a picture of them so that you have something to see. It's gonna be awkward otherwise, but if not, just pretend like it's there, because I read all of these either on my Kindle or as an audiobook from my library, which By the way, if you are not aware, most libraries nowadays have ebooks and audiobooks that you can get for free, so fucking join your library. Like, this blew my mind. I was not aware of this. There's an app called Libby, which a lot of libraries use, but some of them use different apps, so just check in with your local library and see if they do any of that, because it's some really good shit. You can get some free books and just instantly have them. You don't even have to go anywhere. So anyway, so the first book I read was actually not an audiobook or an ebook. It was a physical book, and I do have it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So I'm not going to try to find it. But this is actually the book that I liked the least this month. This is probably one of my least favorite books I might have ever read. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I didn't hate it. It just like was not good. But it was called Someday This Pain Will Be Useful to You by Peter Cameron, I believe is the author's name. And again, if I can, I will try to insert a picture. But I talked about this book a little bit in one of my other ASMR videos I did a couple videos ago, or I was just like rambling about stuff. This book I kind of picked up on a whim. I got it from a used bookstore in my town, and I thought the title was interesting. I thought maybe it would have something kind of deep or profound. It kind of was really disappointing. It basically was just like, it was extremely pretentious, and like in a way that's like was so predictable. Like, it was honestly like just laughable. Like I just felt like it was like too predictable to even make fun of, really. Like, it was just like, okay. And nothing really happened. Like, there was really no action at all in the book. The redeeming qualities I will give it is that I did think the character, even though he was pretentious and annoying and like really unlikable, was also relatable in a lot of ways. So, you know, maybe that says something about me, because I'm like relating to a character that I don't like. But there was some like it did deal a lot with like themes of like feeling like you don't really belong with other people, like you're always kind of the one who's left out, you're like the weirdo, you don't really know how to connect with other people. There was that kind of like alienation, loneliness, isolation theme going on, which I did relate to, especially like past versions of myself related to. So I did think that it had that kind of redeeming quality to it. Like, that was the one thing I liked about it, is the way that it kind of dealt with those themes, and there was some scenes that were kind of did have an impact because of how it kind of depicted those feelings. I guess I should say what the book is about. I don't think I even said that. It's I'm new to this book reviewing thing, if you can't tell. But it follows a boy. Oh my god, I think I forgot what his name was. So if I find it, maybe I'll put it on the screen, because I totally forgot. But I think it was Jack. Was it Jack? I'm gonna say it was Jack. If it's not, then I'll correct it in the editing. I'm gonna say his name was Jack. Maybe it was James. It was Jack or James. It was one of those. I think it was James. Yeah. Anyway, he's just graduated college, or no, not college, high school. And he's about to go to college, and kind of, he got into like Brown University or some like Ivy League school, of course, and is like, doesn't want to go. So the whole conflict is basically him being like, I don't want to go to college, and but his parents want him to go, so he's trying to figure out how to not go to college. And also he's trying to like, kind of like, the whole book really just takes place over the course of like a couple days. There's like 2 events that happen, really, and they're like very minor events, and one of them is like a flashback. to something that happened in the past. And I mean, there's really not much else to say about it. Like I said, there was some like takeaways of like, okay, like I can relate to these feelings, but there was not any resolution to it, and the ending was like very abrupt and kind of ended in like a summary. Like it wasn't even like an ending. Like it literally just like stopped and then like summarized the next few years in the character's life, and like there was no resolution to like any of the internal conflict that had happened. And so it was just like, it just didn't really do anything for me. So I gave this book 2 stars on Goodreads. I didn't give it 1 star because I did keep reading for whatever reason. I thought it was engaging enough to keep reading. I did think the writing was kind of interesting. Like I said, there were some things that were like a little bit thought-provoking, but yeah, it wasn't great. So moving on from that, we're gonna go and move on to the next book, which is my favorite book that I have read this month, and probably my favorite book that I'm gonna read all year, to be honest, unless I just happen to find some other really good books this year, but I just don't know how I could top this one. So this is what kind of kickstarted my whole like resurgence and wanting to read, and that book is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I cannot tell you how much serotonin this book gave to me, okay? You do not understand how much this profoundly impacted me, and like I feel genuinely like I'm a changed person because this book just like gave me so much positive feelings that like I have just been in a good mood since I read this book. Like, I'm not joking. Like, depression gone. Like, this book, I highly recommend. So, if you have not heard of this book, which if you have spent any time on BookTube here on YouTube, or any time browsing what's hot in like queer literature, you've probably heard of this book, because it's becoming pretty popular now. But basically it is a new adult gay rom-com. Okay, so new adult, if you're unaware, is supposed to be the genre that is kind of the bridge between young adult and like regular adult fiction. So young adult typically has an age range of like I don't know, 15 to like 18, like high school age. And then, you know, adult books can range anywhere in the like adult age ranges. And so new adult is kind of like that subsection of like adult books where it's like 18 to like, I don't know, 24, you might say, where you're like, you know, like you're still technically a young adult, but you're just not in high school anymore, and maybe you don't really relate to characters in high school anymore. And that's definitely like where I'm at right now, and that's my biggest thing right now when I'm trying to figure out what to read, because I really like, and I love young adult literature. I grew up with young adult literature, but like I just don't feel myself wanting to read about high school anymore. Like I just don't. And so I'm really struggling now, because I'm sure there's tons of great adult books I could read, but I really like that kind of like younger spirit of like young adult books, and like the way that they tend to be more fast paced and they're easier to get into. You know, I'm a very impatient person, okay? Like I have a very like ADHD attention span. Like I need that kind of like fast paced, like, you know, get me into it sometimes. And so I'm really struggling right now to find books that are paced like that, that are also things I can relate to where I am in my life right now, if you know what I mean. So new adult is a genre that I need more of. Specifically new adult queer books. I need this genre to like blow up, okay? Like, because there is like hardly any, okay? So this book, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, is everything I never knew that I needed. This is, like I said, it's a rom-com, so it has a very like when I describe the plot, I feel like it sounds basically like the most self-indulgent like fan fiction type of plot that you could read. Like that's kind of the vibe. But I'm telling you, it is very well written and it doesn't feel like juvenile at all, really. Like it is an actual good book in my opinion. But the plot, if you want to know, I feel like I am taking way too long to explain these books, but the plot is, it takes place in an alternate universe where it's basically an alternate timeline of our universe where the 2016 election happened and a woman became president. And this woman's name is Ellen Claremont, and she is a mother to two children who came from a marriage that she had with a Mexican-American man, so it's an interracial family, and then she is now divorced and remarried, so it's a, you know, an alternate universe where a divorced woman with an interracial family becomes president, so, you know, maybe something that might feel slightly fantastical in our current world, but, you know, hopefully not forever. But basically the protagonist is her son, Alex, who is the first son of the United States. And basically the main plot of the story follows the relationship between Alex and what starts off as his kind of sworn enemy, which is the Prince of Wales, whose name is Henry in this book. So, as you can imagine, this is everything you could possibly want. This is enemies to lovers. This is alternate reality politics that are realistic, but way better than the ones we currently have. So this is like everything you could want. Okay, like I'm telling you, I want to like shift into this universe so bad. So basically, like I said, you can probably guess it's going to be an enemies to lovers kind of thing. So the whole thing is this romance that happens between the Prince of England and the first son of the United States. And it is so good. The main protagonist is bisexual and the love interest is gay, so you have that diversity there. And like I said, this book is just so indulgent. Like reading it was like eating like a chocolate lava cake that like never ends. Like it was that good. And it's not the kind of thing, like this is my pet peeve in like romance books, and I feel like this is really common in like YA books, where like you get like all this build up to the romance, but then it like you only get to enjoy it for like 2 seconds. Or it'll be like you're enjoying it, but then there's like drama that happens that like ruins it like immediately, you know? And it's like you don't really get to enjoy that like happy time because there's always something that has to fuck it up, you know? This book is not like that. Like there's a little bit of like things getting fucked up, okay? Like there is conflict, but you do get a lot of time to enjoy the relationship, and that's what I really liked about this. Like it was not rushed at all. Like you really got to like enjoy the relationship and just like revel in it, and it was like it was so good and so pure and wholesome. And this is, like I said, it's a new adult book, so it is pretty steamy, not gonna lie. If you don't like you know, more explicit sexual scenes, you probably won't like it. However, I will say that they were done very tastefully, and like it wasn't like awkward to read or anything. Like it's not like a straight up like erotic novel or anything. Like there is quite a lot of like steamy scenes, and they are very good. Okay, but it's done in a way where like I said, it feels tasteful. It's like, you know, it's very pleasing to read. It's not like, oh God, what did I get myself into? You know, like, if it's not jarring, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it eases you into it. And it's like, it's just very good. Okay. I feel like I'm just gonna be gushing nonstop about this. Like, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I mean, I'm sure I could nitpick some things, but, you know, I don't really want to. Even, like, the whole, like, politics thing, like, it was really, honestly, really, in some parts, like, triggering and in some parts inspiring to read about this, like, alternate reality where, like, you know, 2016 didn't happen the way that it happened in real life, and 2020 also didn't happen the way that it happened in real life. Like, obviously, this book was published before 2020 happened, and it takes place partly in 2020, so Corona is, like, not a thing in this universe. So anyway, it's like a kind of escapism sort of reality, but it's also was something that I actually found a lot of inspiration in, because it's like, this could happen, you know, like these things could happen, like this, it feels realistic and grounded enough that it's like, you know, it's not just like, oh, it would be nice if we lived in that world. Like, it is kind of like that, but it's also like, but we could live in that world. Like, you know, like, it really did like inspire me and make me like kind of hopeful, I guess, for like humanity. So, you know, there's that aspect of it. All the characters are really great. The side characters are hilarious. The book is really funny. Like, there's just a lot of really great, funny dialogue. And I really feel like, okay, here's where I'm gonna get a little bit deep about it. Okay. I really feel like this book, like, it made me it made me believe in love again. Okay, as corny as that sounds, like, I feel like there actually was some really profound things that this book said about love, and like there's some quotes that were so good. I'm gonna try to remember them. I'm probably gonna butcher them. Also, if you don't want to know any quotes, then, you know, fast forward a few seconds. But one of them I think is, like, I love him on purpose because, yeah, something, you know what, if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about, but it's like, yeah, like the idea of loving someone on purpose, like, it's a choice that you make consciously, like knowing their baggage and knowing their, you know, like knowing all of the imperfections that they have. It's a choice. And there's another quote that said something like that, and actually before I filmed this video, I had to like look it up on my computer because it was driving me crazy. But so I actually will read this one word for word. But it says, when Alex was a kid, before anyone knew his name, he dreamed of love like it was a fairy tale, as if it would come sweeping into his life on the back of a dragon one day. When he got older, he learned about love as a strange thing that could fall apart no matter how badly you wanted it. A choice you make anyway. He never imagined it turned out he was right both times. I love this quote. Okay, so yeah. So I wanted to make sure that I got that right because I didn't want to mess that up. But that whole idea of like love kind of being a choice you make anyway. Oh, there's another quote I just remembered. It was like something about a cliff. Sometimes you just jump and hope it's not a cliff. Something like that. I don't know. It was said better in the context of the story. But basically this whole idea of like love kind of being a risk. Like it's a risk to love someone. It's a risk to kind of put yourself out there and like put your heart on the line, but it's like a choice that you make anyway. And there's something about that was like really inspiring to me because it's like, yeah, like it is a risk and it can fall apart at any moment. and people are imperfect, and we do have to, like, you know, like, it's a conscious choice. It's not just like a feeling that you get, and it's just, I mean, it is a feeling, but it's not just like something that happens to you and you have no say in it. Like, it's a feeling, but then it's a feeling that you like consciously choose to commit to, even though it's like a risk, and even though it could fall apart. It's like that almost kind of like stupid like bravery of like, I am choosing to love you even though, or not even though, but because of the fact that this could be imperfect and this could fall apart. Like, there's something so beautiful about that, and honestly, like, that has just kind of stayed with me from reading this book. So, you know, that's all I'm gonna say about this book for now. So, but I highly recommend it. Please give it a read. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so the next book I read, I believe I gave 3 out of 5 stars, and this book was called The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and I don't remember the author's name, but I will put it in the video right here. I'm sorry, I did not really prepare that well for this video, as you can tell. But so this is a book that I kind of just started immediately after I finished Red, White, and Royal Blue. I actually had read Red, White, and Royal Blue twice in a row. Like, I read it first on my Kindle, like visually, and then I listened to the audiobook, and then I was like in the mood to listen to more audiobooks, so then I listened to this book on audiobook. And this is a book that takes place in England in like Victorian era, I think, or I think it's like late 1700s. I'm not sure what era that is, but I think that's the time period. I honestly don't remember. But it follows the main character who whose name I'm going to remember. Oh, his name is Henry Montague. But they call him Monty. So it's first person. He is basically going on tour, which apparently is a thing people did back then, where you just like go travel for a few months once you turn 18. So he's going on tour with his best friend, who is named Percy, who he happens to be in love with. Basically, the plot is that they are on tour traveling the continent of Europe, kind of before the main character, Henry, has to take over his father's estate, which he doesn't want to do. And his best friend Percy, he is supposedly going to go off to some school or something. I'm sorry, I'm probably messing up the details of this, but basically this is the last time that they're gonna like be able to like have one last hurrah together. But as you can imagine, something happens while they're on tour and it goes horribly wrong, and then it becomes an adventure, and there's this kind of fantastical element. There's alchemy in this, which is cool. You know, I'm all about that. So it kind of ends up being more of an adventure novel. And here's the thing. I gave this book 3 stars because it really pissed me off for a couple of reasons that are not like really that legitimate reasons, but it was just things that annoyed me. I do think that this book did touch on some topics very well, or like had some valuable things to say, But my biggest issue with this was kind of like the pacing of it, I guess, and like the way that the romance happened, because basically it like it like edged you with the romance. Like it made you think multiple times that like it was gonna go somewhere, but then it would do that really annoying thing where it's like you know, oh, like finally they're about to confess their feelings for each other, and then one of them like fucks up and like does something stupid, and it like happens multiple times to the point where it's just like really annoying. And like I was just kind of angry because I'm reading this for the romance, like I'm not gonna lie, like I wanted more romance books, that's why I read this book. And so I was really pissed off every time like we were starting to get somewhere, and then it would like one of the characters would just be stupid and fuck it up. And like that happened kind of towards like the climax, and I won't spoil it, but basically it was like it was just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, finally we're gonna get something with this romance, and then it's like, nope, just kidding, now we have to go do this like plot thing. Like we have to go have this climax of the story that I don't really care about. Like I didn't really care that much about the plot, I have to say. Like I tried to, it was kind of interesting, but I was more interested in the characters and the romance. But like it was like this thing where it was be like oh, we're getting somewhere, like oh no, now we have to go, like now they fucked up and now we gotta go deal with this plot device. And like I wasn't really that invested in the way that the plot went. So that was my biggest issue with it. That's why I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I also found the main character to be very annoying and like, just, yeah, I mean, there was some things that I really did like about this book though. Like, I do feel like it touched on, some topics that, are really relevant. Like obviously there's the interracial thing aspect to this relationship, especially like in this time period where everything was so different, and it deals with, you know, themes of like privilege and like, you know, not being able to recognize like the struggles that other people are going through. There's also like some disability themes in this, which I thought was really cool, really interesting to read about. It's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to like give too much away, but you find out that one of the characters has an illness, and it's an illness that's very common in our world, but back then it was like thought to be this like people were thought to be insane, or like possessed by demons or something just for having this illness. So that was really interesting to read about, and kind of deals with this theme of like, you know, if you love someone, then you shouldn't want to like fix them. Like you should just be okay with them, even if they're, you know, ill, or even if they aren't, you know, a fully abled person. So I did like that aspect. My favorite part of this book was probably the way that the main character, Henry Montague, dealt with, or like the way that it depicted him basically dealing with PTSD from an abusive father. I did think that was depicted really well. And it was something that I don't feel like I see a lot of in books. Like really clear depictions of like PTSD, even though that wasn't like ever labeled. Like I don't even think they had the term at the time period, but like you can definitely see that that's what was happening. Like there was flashbacks and like you know, memories and all that kind of like classic PTSD symptoms, and it was depicted in a way that I thought was like really accurate. And so I did like that aspect, and I liked the theme of, you know, like you shouldn't have to change someone in order to love them, but I just feel like it could have been executed a little better, I guess. And I was really disappointed with the pacing of the romance. Like, I just really feel like it teased me and like edged me in a way where I did not enjoy it. So 3 out of 5 stars. It was pretty enjoyable, like it was a fun ride, but it just kind of pissed me off too much for me to give it more than that. So finally, the last book that I have read in the month of March is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I was debating whether to give it 4 or 5, but I decided to give it 5. This book is I believe it's marketed as an adult novel, and it's basically a retelling of the Iliad from the point of view of Patroclus, who, in this version of the story, is Achilles' lover. So we get a whole backstory to Patroclus, and we get to see his relationship develop with Achilles, who is, if you've never read the Iliad, he's pretty much one of the main characters in that epic poem. But I've never read the Iliad, to be totally frank. Never read it, probably was supposed to read it in high school, but don't think I ever did. So I didn't really know the story that much. Like, I knew a little bit about like the Trojan War and like a little bit of the myths surrounding it, but I didn't really like know the story like by heart, you know. So reading this was kind of like it was kind of exciting because I didn't really know what was going to happen, even though I did know that it was probably going to end in tragedy, because it's like, you know, it's a Greek myth and they pretty much all end in tragedy. But, you know, I did really enjoy this book, and I really enjoy Madeline Miller's writing. I am currently now reading her other book, Circe, which is about the character of Circe from Greek mythology, who is like a goddess slash sorceress. So I'm really enjoying that. But anyway, back to the Song of Achilles. I really like her writing style. It was like, again, I listened to the audiobook, and this was like, the audiobook was just very pleasant to listen to. Like, the narrator's voice was like just very soothing, and it was a very pleasant read, even though there was a lot of like, you know, tragic things that happened. But I really like I said, the writing was very good, and it did focus a lot, I guess, on the romantic aspect, but like not really as much as I was expecting, to be honest. Like, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like just a, you know, steamy romance set against the backdrop of like the Trojan War. Like, there's definitely a lot more action than there is like romance in this, because it is literally just like a retelling of the Iliad, which is an action story. But it does have those themes of like, you know, love and romance, and like what you do for the people that you love. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I just really am gay for Greek mythology, so I really feel like I learned a lot about like the myths surrounding these characters, and I do feel like, again, like this is another one that kind of made me think about love in a different way, and it's really interesting because Achilles, basically, I mean, he is the like star fighter of the Trojan War and has to kill a lot of people, and then there's kind of this conflict where Patroclus is kind of like this character who, you know, in this version of the story and Madeline Miller's rendering of it, he's a very like, I guess you could say like sensitive kind of person. Like he has very like high like moral code, which I really thought was interesting and really enjoyed. So like, you know, he really is like, you know, against killing people and like all of that. So, but it's really interesting because like he is, you know, he's very loyal to Achilles the whole time. Like both of them are extremely loyal to each other. There's never any drama between them really. I mean, well, there is, but like not until like the necessary part. But like their relationship is really pretty like steady for the most part, and they're very loyal. And so I don't know, it just kind of made me think about this idea of like when you really love someone, like should you love them unconditionally even when they're doing things that kind of, you know, aren't really like ethical? You know, like it kind of is this like question of like, you know, like Achilles is doing these things, and in some, like, it's understandable to some extent, like why he feels like he has to do it, because it's been like prophesized, and he was kind of like built for this in a way. So there's this element of like, you know, you can feel that he feels like he doesn't really have a choice. And it's just very, I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where you just like, it's morally gray, right? And you're like, you know, it'd be cool if like maybe you didn't, you know, have to fight in a war and kill people for literally no reason. But, and it's just interesting to see how that kind of plays out in the context of their relationship, and like, you know, even after everything, like they're still loyal to each other. And there's something that was really inspiring about that, like, you know, loving someone even though like you don't agree with their actions, or even though like you know, even if they're not a perfectly good person. And like I really found that like inspiring in a way, but also kind of like I don't know, like it's one of those like moral questions, I guess. It's like I feel like if you love someone, then you want them to be the best like version of themselves that is like kind and compassionate. And we do see that with like Patroclus urging Achilles to like, you know, to take the less violent route as much as possible. And yeah, and so anyway, that was kind of the main themes I took away from that whole storyline. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Song of Achilles. I thought, like I said, it was very well done. My only one like nitpicky complaint about it, this might be like a mild spoiler, so if you don't want to hear, then I'll raise a hand when I'm done. But basically, like, pretty much everyone knows, like, the myth of Achilles is that he gets shot in the heel with an arrow, and then that's like his weak spot, and then that's how he dies. And then in this version, for some reason, Madeline Miller didn't include that. Like, he just gets shot with an arrow through the chest and dies. And for some reason, I'm sure she had a good reason for why she chose to do that, but I don't know, it kind of bothered me, because I was like, the whole time, I was like, okay, at least I know one thing's gonna happen, that's he's gonna get shot in the heel, and that's gonna be significant, because that's the only thing I know about Achilles. And then it didn't even happen, and so then I was like, wait, what? Did I even read the right story? So it was, like I said, that's kind of a nitpicky thing. Also, I guess I should raise my hand, because, you know, spoiler done. But that's kind of a nitpicky thing, but yeah, it just bothered me. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really want to read more of Madeline Miller. Like I said, I'm already reading her other book, which I'm really enjoying, so we'll definitely keep her on my to-read list in the future. But that, I believe, is all of the books that I have read in the month of March, and that was a very long kind of discussion of all of them. I was hoping this video would be shorter, but we all know I cannot make short videos to save my life, so I hope that you stayed around for all of it. If you did, thank you. Please like and subscribe if you like this type of video. I'll be doing more of these, regardless of how well this goes. I do want to do more of these because I do want to read more, and this is going to give me that motivation and make it enjoyable for me. So, you know, if you like that, again, please like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Again, I'm still going to be doing my tarot spirituality content, so if you're here for that, don't worry, I'm not stopping, I'm just expanding a little bit. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really good night, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.